Welcome back to the Ballpark in Arlington as the pregame festivities now are underway as the rain has abated, and the forecast apparently is for no more rain this afternoon, or at least that's the latest forecast we have had. Right now, the Fort Worth Symphony is taking the field, so to speak, at the Ballpark in Arlington, and along with the introductions of the Milwaukee Ball Club. Fort Worth Symphony, of course, will accompany classical pianist Van Cliburn as he plays the national anthem, and also, I understand, he is going to do his own rendition of Take Me Out to the Ball Game. I can't wait. Should be interesting. Fort Worth Symphony, they had planned to wear the white tails and tuxes with the Red Ranger caps, but apparently the weather made them change their minds. Well, you've got to be adaptable. You have to adjust. If you're going to be in a major league ballpark, you have to be able to. That's right. And they have done just that. Fort Worth Symphony and the rest of the Milwaukee Ball Club has been introduced. And now PA announcer Chuck Morgan will introduce the Texas Ranger 1994 Ball Club.
The equipment manager for the Texas Rangers, Joe Macco. Trainer, Ray Ramirez. Trainer, Danny Wheat. Physical therapist, Marty Stajuhar. Coaches, number 26, Dave Oliver. Number 42, Jackie Moore. Number 43, Mickey Hatcher. Number 46, Willie Upshaw. Pitching coach in the bullpen, number 48, Claude Osteen. Number 49, Harry Hill. In the bullpen catcher, Doug Witt. Wearing number 3, Bill Ripken. Number 4, Chris James. Number 5, Gary Reedus. Number 6, Esteban Beltre. Number 21, Junior Ortiz. Number 24, Steve Dreyer. Number 27, Matt Whiteside. Number 31, Chris Carpenter. Number 32, Rick Helling. Number 40, Rick Honeycutt. Number 41, Kevin Brown. Rangers pitcher of the year last year, number 50, Tom Hinkie. Number 52, Jay Howell. Number 61, James Hurst. Number 77, Jack Armstrong. In his second year as manager of the Texas Rangers, number 44, Kevin Kennedy. And now the Rangers starting lineup. Leading off and playing center field, the 1993 Rangers Rookie of the Year, number 15, David Hulse. Batting second and playing second base, number 20, Doug Strange. Former American League Rookie of the Year, former American League MVP, four-time All-Star, batting third, designated hitter, number 33, Jose Canseco. The 11th player to lead the American League in home runs in consecutive seasons, batting fourth, left fielder, number 19, Juan Gonzalez. Five-time National League All-Star, batting fifth and playing first base, number 22, Will Clark. Batting sixth and playing third base, number 16, Dean Palmer. Batting seventh and playing right field, number 12, Rob Ducey. Two-time American League All-Star, two-time Gold Glove winner, batting eighth and catching, number 7, Ivan Pudge Rodriguez. Batting ninth and playing shortstop, number 2, Manuel Lee. And on the mound for the Rangers, warming up in the bullpen, number 37, Kenny Rogers. Ladies and gentlemen, your 1994 Texas Rangers. Presenting the colors for today's game is the Naval Air Station Dallas Color Guard. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to perform our national anthem on opening day at the Ballpark in Arlington, please welcome Texas's own Van Cliburn, joined by the Fort Worth Symphony Orchestra, conducted by Maestro John Giordano.
a stirring way to open the ballpark in Arlington with the Fort Worth Symphony and classical pianist Van Cliburn in not just one rendition but two of our Star-Spangled Banner. Well, we'll be back with the starting lineups and the beginning of baseball, a new era in Texas Ranger history, right after this message. To the field here in the ballpark in Arlington. The weather trying to cooperate. The rain has apparently left the area for the time being, and we're going to have baseball here as the Rangers and Brewers get set to open the ballpark in Arlington in a pitching matchup today, Jim Sundberg, that features Kenny Rogers trying to come back from a very rough outing in New York, and Jamie Navarro, who is making his 1994 debut.
Navarro counted on considerably hard last year. Just did not come through his first subpar season and making his first start of the year because of his struggling. He's in the number 5 slot. Kenny Rogers, coming off of a very difficult start in New York, had a great spring and threw the ball well and had the opportunity to already pitch off the mound here in Arlington against the Mets. That first exhibition game, discovered that the mound was a little sandy, so they went to work and fixed that. But Kenny hoping here this afternoon to get his season turned around.
And Kenny and Kevin Brown both having tough outings in New York, experiencing the same kind of problems where they were just a little bit too pumped up. Of course, we know that they are both very highly strung competitors, so to speak, and they just had too much adrenaline going. Kenny Rogers, instead of making the pitches he wanted to, was missing by enough that even though he was throwing the ball with authority, the walks hurt him, and certainly the strikes that he threw were in the middle area of the plate, and that is not exactly what he wanted.
Well, the Rangers have seen the Yankees and the Orioles, two ball clubs you can't make many mistakes with. You can't walk people. The Milwaukee Brewers are a little bit different ball club, not a power club, and they're with some injuries, some big hitters in the lineup.
Well, the Rangers and Brewers are loosening up in preparation for the start of this afternoon's contest. The way this field drains, according to Anglia, it could be as dry as a bone by now. They can handle up to 7 inches of rain falling on this field within an hour. Remove that. David Holtz out there loosening up, and David has done an excellent job in that Ranger leadoff spot. Home openers, quite a bit of fun. Sonny, you remember one that really stands out in your mind?
Yeah, this one right here.
This one right here, yeah.
In terms of course, Ranger history, my first back in 1974. I think your first as a player is an exciting one, and I think first game after winning the World Series with Kansas City back in 1986 stand out. But this will be one that people remember for years. This is an incredible facility. Even though we've had some rain, it appears to be thinning out a little bit. A lot of people ready to see some exciting baseball.
Well, certainly the gloomy skies have not turned any of the fans gloomy. There's been a lot of excited folks wandering around just in awe of the ballpark, and certainly looking forward with anticipation to the first regular season ball game played here at the ballpark in Arlington. Rangers, after winning yesterday, winning 2 out of 3 in Baltimore, coming back home on a very positive note, been able to get the home run ball going, and they've also had some timely hitting yesterday. There's the tarp that will remain on top of that lift that usually keeps it underground for the time being. It's on a big hydraulic lift, and most of the time it will be stored beneath the playing surface. But with the threat of inclement weather still around, Jim Anglia and his crew have that tarp ready if needed in a very short period of time. Jimmy Anglia and discussing some things with his folks, and Ivan Rodriguez and Rob Ducey getting ready for the Rangers here this afternoon. Managers exchanging lineup cards. The first time this has happened in the ballpark. Kevin Kennedy and Phil Garner doing the duties, and the crew chief of this umpiring crew, Larry Barnett, explaining the ground rules, and both of them, both managers, probably listening intently, as are the other 3 umpires.
Well, interesting note of talking with Al Clark, that is to the right of Kevin Kennedy in the glasses. He mentioned that he and Greg Kosk, who have been in Major League Baseball now their 19th year, just so happened that Greg Kosk was in Cleveland. In fact, this crew was in Cleveland when Cleveland opened up this year, and that was the first place that Greg had umpired his first game. And then all of a sudden, Al Clark gets to come to Arlington, Texas, to see the opening of new ballpark here, and it was the old ballpark where he umpired his first game. So little sentimental feelings for those guys, and they said this is the facility. They have seen Baltimore, of course, and they've been at Cleveland, and they said this is awesome.
Yeah, Al, I talked to Al too a little while ago, and he was effusive in his praise of not only the ballpark, the inside of the park, but he said he walked around the exterior and looked at what the whole complex is going to be like, and he said it's just incredible, the planning, the design, the actual construction, what has been done. He said by far and away, this is the best baseball facility that he has ever seen. And as you mentioned, after 19 years in the major leagues, he's seen a lot of it.
You know, the playing field and the surface, as we look at it, the right field porch, Tom Schiefer saying the right field porch is probably the most popular place in this ballpark. But it's just, as we pan around there, incredible view. But what they have done behind the scenes, the service area underneath, the space there, and then the walkways outside, by far have blown all the other ballparks away in terms of a walking area for fans, a place for the fans to get out of the weather.
Kind of a nice touch, too. The people, as you look at Ranger President Tom Schiefer, the folks sitting at the deck right below us, right below our broadcast position in the club level, have the luxury of being served in their seats. That level right below our position there, they don't even have to get up to have some food brought down. All they have to do is just put in their order. And of course, if you are Troy Aikman, you have a seat out in center field right in front of your own office. Troy Aikman's company is headquartered here in the ballpark in Arlington. He's up on the 3rd level, I believe that is, out there. Right below the Rangers, of course, occupy the top level of that 4-story facility in center field. And former Maverick Brad Davis, longtime Rangers season ticket holder, out here for opening day at the ballpark. He said he would not miss this for anything. Well, a pretty good series of discussions going on at home plate. They're just trying to figure out what the ground rules are going to be. Maybe they're making them up as they go along. Ball goes in there, and I don't know what's going to happen. We'll have to wait and see. You tell me. A horde of photographers behind home plate, of course, and they are waiting for the mayor of Arlington, Richard Green, to throw out the first pitch. The Rangers, for the first time in the history of this facility, in a regular season game, taking the field, and fireworks above the stands out in right field. A lot of folks ducking for cover that didn't realize those things were going off. There's the mayor of Arlington, Mayor Richard Green, and Tom Schiefer gives the mayor an awful lot of credit for working together. We heard Tom's comments about being a team effort. But Tom Schiefer gives the mayor an awful lot of credit for making this new facility a reality. Working with the Rangers, working with the city of Arlington, and of course all the voters that it took to pass the measures that allowed financing for this facility. Engineered by Mayor Richard Green. He's going to have to work on his fastball a little bit, but that was a little bit short. Maybe a breaking ball.
It could have been. It reminded me of a few breaking balls I've seen thrown before.
Well, Kenny Rogers getting ready to go, and here will be the starting lineup for the Milwaukee Brewers that he will face this afternoon. Pat Listash, shortstop, leads off. Darrell Hamilton will bat second. He's the designated hitter. Turner Ward is in left field, batting third. Hitting cleanup, playing third base, Kevin Seitzer. John Jaha is the first baseman. Batting sixth and catching, Dave Nilsson. Jody Reed is the second baseman. He'll bat seventh. The right fielder, Matt Mieske, hits eighth. And in center field, Alex Diaz.
And defensive of the Rangers with 4 errors in their first 5 ball games. We have Gonzalez, Hulse, and Ducey in the outfield. I'm sure Rob Ducey having a great time with the start here this afternoon. Palmer, Lee, Strange, and Clark. Clark able to get out there with that bad ankle. Rodriguez behind the plate. Kenny Rogers will make his second start of the year. Trying to get away from that first start as quickly as he can. 0-1. ERA way up in the sky at 24. He did not have a strikeout in his last outing. He just worked 3 innings, gave up 9 hits, and walked 2. Really had his problem. And going against a much different Milwaukee team in terms of offense. Not a very good offensive ball club, although they scored 23 runs in their first 2 games this year. Only 6 in the last 3. You see Kenny with his first career complete game last year against the Brewers, a 3-hitter. And he is getting ready to get started here this afternoon.
Umpire crew this afternoon. Greg Koss calling the balls and strikes. Al Clark at first, Dan Morrison at second. Larry Barnett is over at third. And a scoop and a throw by Doug Strange, and a very good defensive play on the first pitch ever thrown in regulation play at the ballpark in Arlington. Outstanding play by Doug Strange, whose defense has been sparkling in the early going of 1994.
Pat Listash with good speed. You see that Doug Strange not wasting any time to transfer the ball, just a little scoop. And of course the infield a little soft here with the weather and with the new surface.
The one gone very quickly. Here is Darrell Hamilton. Hamilton suffering from slightly strained elbow, so he's the designated hitter this afternoon, hitting at 200 for the season. No home runs and an RBI as he looks at strike 1. Kenny Rogers just off the outside corner, evens the count. Talking about the Brewer lineup, they have been battered and bruised already, carrying over a tradition that has plagued the Milwaukee Brewers for seems like the last several years, as Hamilton lofts one to left field where Juan Gonzalez is stationed and puts it away.
The Brewers with lots of trouble last year in terms of their offense. They went from 90 wins in 92 to over 90 losses last season. Of course, some of that having to do with the exit of Paul Molitor. Phil Gardner really having to move his lineup around and try to make some people in there without some important offensive players in this series. Brian Harper picked up from the Twins in the offseason, free agency, P.J. Suroff and Greg Vaughn.
Here's Turner Ward, former Toronto Blue Jay, and he takes inside ball 1. Ward, a switch hitter, off to a pretty good start. He's hitting at 350. He's driven in 3, does not have a home run. As a right-hander, he's hitting in an even 500. Kenny Rogers with a 1-0 pitch, and it's 2-0. Now, along with Brian Harper, B.J. Surhoff, both on the disabled list. Greg Vaughn, the man they rely on for the most power on this ball club, potentially going on the disabled list. He's got a rib cage problem. We mentioned Darrell Hamilton suffering with a strained elbow. Ball 3 high and away. So it is not a complete club as far as Phil Gardner and the Brewers are concerned that he's able to put out there.
And you most notice it in the 3 and 4 spots in this order. Turner Ward really hitting at 9th for Toronto last year. At bottom of the order. And then you've got in the 4th spot Kevin Seitzer, the on-deck circle, that normally a number 1 or 2 guy in the order. And not really a cleanup guy.
Rogers with a 3-1. It's low for ball 4. And Turner Ward draws without walk. So the first base runner was aboard here at the first game in the ballpark in Arlington. Now Kevin Seitzer, the 250 hitter. will stand in with Turner Ward at first base. Will Clark holding him at the bag. Seitzer, a couple of runs, 4 driven in. You might want to throw one other name in there, although it's not an injury situation. It's a detriment to the offense, the retirement of Robin Yount. So you've got actually 5 people that the Brewers counted on last year, or could have counted on this year, to produce offense that are not available.
It doesn't seem like the same Milwaukee ball club without a Molitor and a Yount in there. Of course, for years, Jimmy Gantner also.
Rogers a snap throw to first, and Turner Ward back.
In fact, the Brewers, the only ball club they'll play the rest of the month that is not what I would consider an offensive ball club. So this is an important series to kind of kick around the Brewers a little bit, get off to a good start on their new ballpark, and sweep the Brewers. It'd be nice to see that happen.
Brewers beaten yesterday 4-1 by California. The Angels leading the American League West thus far. Rangers a game and a half back. Ward with a pretty good lead at first. The pitch to Seitzer a bit low for ball 1. Ward checking with third base coach. I should say Kevin Seitzer checking with third base coach Duffy Dyer. See what's going on. Chopper toward third. Palmer going to second the short way, and with good speed, Ward almost got there in time, but the Rangers close out the Brewers in the first. No runs, no hits, 1 left after a half inning. The first ever played at the ballpark in Arlington. No score.
I finally made it to the big leagues. And my first game, we get the call. And I'm thinking, how lucky can a guy get?
Beechwood aged for that fresh, distinctive taste. Crisp, clean, classic.
I just can't climb into a suit and tie.
Meet Kevin. He didn't get his business philosophy from an MBA program.
I think it's really about not the profit margins I'm trying to make, but about staying connected with my customers.
How else does Kevin connect with his customers? The AT&T Business Advantage. His own 800 number. Now you can keep up with your customers for only $6 a month.
Hey, AT&T works for me.
Let AT&T work for you.
There it is.
The bus.
The new feel of basketball, running, and cross-training shoes. No matter where you look, they're only at Foot Locker.
Got it. Hey, not the billboard. Awesome.
The new feel of running, cross-training, and basketball shoes. No matter where you see them, you'll only get them at Foot Locker.
Hope the pet store's hiring.
Well, the Brewers fail to score in the first. The Rangers come to bat in the bottom half of the first. The starting lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. David Holtz leads off. He is the center fielder. Doug Strange is at second. Jose Canseco will be the DH and bat third. Leadoff man is left fielder Juan Gonzalez. Will Clark dropped down to the 5th slot of the batting order. He's at first base. Then it's third baseman Dean Palmer. The right fielder is Rob Ducey. Batting 8th and catching Ivan Rodriguez. And Manuel Lee is the shortstop.
Yeah, the Brewers coming into this game with 4 errors on the year, 9th in the American League. They'll have Turner Ward, Alex Diaz, and Matt Misi in the outfield. Kevin Seitzer, Pat Listash, Jody Reed, excuse me, and John Jaha at first. Dave Nielsen behind the plate, and Jimmy Navarro on the hill. Jimmy last year 11-12, ERA at 5.33. He's making his first start of the year. He led the American League in earned runs, 127. The number is pretty high. Very disappointing season we mentioned earlier for the big right-hander. Basically fastball slider pitcher. Had trouble with the Rangers last year with ERA at 6.75. And career-wise has not done that well.
David Holtz to start things off. First pitch inside for ball 1. David Holtz being an even 300 as he has done a very good job in that leadoff spot against both left and right-handers. It's a two-hopper that bounds over the head of the second baseman, Jody Reed. And Holtz is aboard. Well, that may be one of the bugs that Jim Angley was talking about, getting worked out of this new ballpark.
I think most of the infielders have said the infield will take some time, but they felt like at the old facility, Arlington Stadium, was one of the best, and since the same guy is here, that they'll eventually get this worked out. But a bad hop that gets up over Jody Reed's head, boy, nice way for the Rangers to get started in the new ballpark.
I would assume that's going to be a base hit. Yes, it is. Finally put up there. Jody gets an error on that.
Well, we could give it to Jim Angley, huh?
You could give it to Jim Angley. So one on and nobody out. Doug Strange standing in before he will see the first pitch from Jamie Navarro. Let's take 5 seconds for station identification on the Texas Ranger Baseball Network.
The Texas Rangers flagship station, KTVT Channel 11, Fort Worth, Dallas.
Jamie Navarro set the first pitch to Doug Strange, a strike on the outside corner. Strange, the switch-hitting second baseman, 4 out of his last 7 after starting this season 0 for 7. So he turned things around in a hurry. He's hitting .286 overall. Little toss over there just to keep Holtz close. David, of course, team leader last year with 29 stolen bases. Big right-hander Navarro set, and the pitch to Strange just off the inside corner. 1-1. You know, you wonder how with this guy's stuff that the league managed to hit 300 against him last year. That just, it's hard to fathom. He has an excellent arm and 3 pitches that when he's throwing well, not many have 3 quality pitches like that, but just the control aspect, and he tends to be a little bit too competitive with himself at times also. Slap foul down the left field line, well back into the lower deck. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Is that our first foul ball?
The first souvenir.
First souvenir. The ballpark in Arlington. A happy fan.
Holtz trying to establish that lead at first as Strange waits. And Navarro will drive him back once again. John Jaha over there holding the bag against David Holtz. First base umpire Al Clark keeping an eye on things. There goes Holtz. The pitch is fouled back and out of play. David Holtz had a pretty good jump that time. He'll have to retreat to first after the foul ball.
I don't believe a hit and run either. Basically, the steal given to David Holtz. See, with 8 last year against Milwaukee. Of course, with 1 strike already on Doug Strange, or he couldn't let it go by. 2.
And Doug Strange gone on the foul tip into the glove of Dave Nielsen. That's 1 gone. Jose Canseco coming up as you get an overhead view of a sold-out ballpark in Arlington on the Fuji blimp, providing the aerial coverage that we are going to enjoy here this afternoon. The sun peeking its way through and providing a great backdrop for opening day in Arlington.
Look at that shot.
Here is a very hot Jose Canseco, who's been on base 7 consecutive times. He had a tremendous home run yesterday, his first of the year, as you note. Ended up having a 3-hit day and a walk and a hit by a pitch also. No balls and a strike to the Ranger designated hitter. David Holtz at first with one out. There goes Holtz again. The pitch fouled away. That's twice now that Holtz has gotten a very good jump. And first time it was Doug Strange fouling off pitch, and now Jose Canseco fouls one off. Now David getting in his wind sprints, jogging back to first.
Yeah, big day yesterday for Canseco. He has now been on base 6 times in a row, 7 times. 3 for 3 yesterday. That see numbers against Milwaukee, very effective last season.
Breaking ball stays inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Looked a little bit quicker yesterday with the bat than he had been the day before, or even earlier in the season in New York. A little more comfortable at the plate, I guess you would say.
I think what happens when you're not feeling comfortable and you're not sure at the plate, a little bit of doubt, you tend not to let the bat fly as well as you could. You're struggling somewhat.
That's fouled back and out of play as David Holtz on them again. Still a ball and 2 strikes to Canseco. The sun-bathed slugger up there. Fans gave a big cheer when the sun finally made its appearance here at the ballpark in Arlington. Right-hander against right-hander. Holtz staying put this time, and the breaking ball swerves outside. 2-2. Nelson looking into the dugout and getting some help with pitch selection. Navarro's 2-2. Ground ball over the mound. Listach underhands to Jody Reed, and they just do get David Holtz. Holtz, even with that great speed, not able to beat the underhand toss by Pat Listach.
But the only play the Brewers had was at second base. They would not gotten Canseco, and you can see by about a foot. Tough hop that Listach stayed with. A nice little flip to Jody Reed.
Well, there are 2 gone in the Ranger first inning. Juan Gonzalez will stand in. Juan hitting it an even 200. It's a pitch low and inside, ball 1. Juan tied with teammate Will Clark for the team leadership with 7 RBI. Juan with 2 home runs. Canseco, marginal lead at first. A breaking ball. Juan trying to hit the first home run at the ballpark in Arlington.
Well, you mentioned Gonzalez and Clark tied with RBI, and you look at the way they really have been swinging. In some ways, they've really been struggling. They have not really swung the bat like we know that both of them can do.
And Navarro backing off the pitching rubber. 2 outs, bottom of the first. Canseco at first. Juan Gonzalez with a count of 1 ball and 1 strike on him. Now the Brewer right-hander ready. Canseco on the move, and a shot foul that spins third base coach Dave Oliver around. quick feet. So Navarro with the advantage in the count at 1-2. Seiko with a little larger lead this time. He's staying put. Hard hit ball to short, underhanded by Listach to Jody Reed. The side retired for the Rangers. No runs a hit. They strand one after one complete from the ballpark in Arlington. No score.
There's a home run porch in right field that would have made Babe Ruth smile. Every game played here will be connected to every game ever played, and all those yet to be. The foul lines are drawn. The flags are flying. Now all that's left is for you to take your seat in history. For today's players will soon be here.
I was at a red light.
Rangers baseball is brought to you in part by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for a crisp, clean, classic taste. And by the Dallas-Fort Worth area Lincoln Mercury dealers.
The Fuji blimp again providing you with a good overhead view of a sold-out ballpark in Arlington as we go to the second inning. John Jaha will lead things off, and he takes a pitch inside for ball one. Jaha hitting at .316. A couple of home runs and 6 driven in. Kenny Rogers evens the count. Rogers in the first inning allowed just a 2-out walk to Turner Ward.
And with the injury to Greg Vaughn provides the most power this lineup has. He had 19 home runs last year in his first full season with the Brewers. Got established over there at the first base side.
Rogers back to the plate. Took something off that as Jaha is out in front. And it's 2-2. Kenny Rogers here in the early going appears to have much better command of his off-speed stuff, especially than he did in his initial start. Low and inside, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Jaha trying to start off the Brewers' second by reaching in front of Dave Nilsson. Payoff pitch from the Ranger left-hander. Chopper to third off the glove of Dean Palmer and into left field. Well, Jaha aboard on what I'm sure is going to be a base hit. That took kind of a wicked hop right at the end, too. Dean Palmer trying to range far to his left, could not come up with it.
The second toughest hop was really shooting up off the infield dirt. Seems to be accelerating after it comes off.
Both the balls we've seen take hops like that have had a little overspin on them, and that's apparently accentuated by the dirt. Here's Dave Nilsson. Kenny Rogers dropping that breaking ball in and over for strike one. Nilsson off to a great start. He has taken a good spring and carried it right over. He's hitting at .364, as you will note, with a home run and 3 driven in. Rogers a check of first. Another breaking ball and strike 2.
Well, the up and young catchers in the American League, but because of the flurry of good offensive catchers last year, kind of gets lost in the shuffle. Had some injuries. I think as this kid gets out there and puts in a full season, you'll see some pretty good numbers.
Pretty good tools defensively, too, doesn't he? Rogers 0-2, and it's fouled away. Another tough breaking ball to Nilsson.
And organizations drool over left-handed hitting catchers. Usually catchers not with the best speed, and of course hitting from the left side gives them a couple extra steps. And the fact that it ever gets to a situation from a catcher standpoint, it's an advantage if you're in a platoon situation. Usually you end up getting the most at-bats, usually around 350 at-bats, maybe 110 games in a season.
Rogers again a check of first, and he gets a fastball in on the fists of Nilsson. He's able to fight it off to stay alive. 1 base hit for each ball club. We play in the top of the second inning. First regular season ball game ever played here at the ballpark in Arlington. Kenny Rogers, who said a couple of times that it's going to be an extreme honor to be the opening day pitcher here at home, had his wish come true despite a rain out in New York. High and tight, a ball and 2 strikes. Almost had a rain out here today, too. Any folks having drought problems, give Kenny a call. Stop by between starts.
Kenny fortunate that he only had 69 pitches Thursday in New York. Had you go another inning and put in 80 pitches or so, they would have had another starter here this afternoon. It could have been like a Steve Dreyer or James Hurst making their first start of the year, and that would have been interesting for a couple of rookies having the opportunity on opening day here.
Rogers ready for the 1-2 offering. Breaking ball hit right back to it. The second for Juan Lee. The relay to first. It's a 1-6-3 double play. Pretty good reaction by Kenny Rogers and a great turn by Manuel Lee on what was not the easiest throw to handle.
A great stop for Rogers. Watch his throw, a little sidearm shot, and he puts it right on the bag. And Lee had to avoid the runner coming in. It's it to Will Clark. A nice play by Manny Lee.
Well, the Rangers turning their 4th double play of the year. Manuel Lee. Maybe that's the best place to give him a throw. Somewhere down there where he can sidearm it or underhand it. Most guys like the ball up around chest high to be able to handle it.
Well, one advantage by doing that, you get the runner down early.
Yeah, you do.
You can come from that low.
Yeah, you do. Here's Jody Reed, former Boston Red Sox. Fouls one out of play. There is the old Arlington Stadium, which will be demolished sometime in the early summer. Provide more parking spaces for the ballpark in Arlington. Construction is still continuing on the master plan. And of course, there's going to be a youth league ballpark, an amphitheater, and just all kinds of great facilities surrounding the ballpark itself. This will not be just a showcase for baseball. It will be that, but it will also be a great spot for family entertainment of all types. 1-2 pitch. Line drive center field. David Holtz will play it on a hop. And Jody Reed, continuing to swing a hot bat, has a 2-out single.
And for the first time here in the ballpark in Arlington, we'd like to remind you folks that this copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of the Texas Rangers. Your use of the pictures and accounts without the written consent of the Rangers and Gaylord Entertainment Company is prohibited.
Fuji blimp parked out there over the right field stands. That's a no parking zone, pal. You got to move it. Let's go. 2 gone, and first ball swinging. Rookie Matt Mieske can't catch up with a Kenny Rogers offering. Mieske playing in right field, primarily due to the absence of both Darrell Hamilton in the outfield and Greg Vaughn. Mieske hitting at 111. Pitch is a bit low. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, the Brewers with an outfit of Ward, Diaz, and Mieske. Not what the Brewers had in their plans when the spring training started.
Not at all, no. Rogers to the plate. Slow topper to third. Charged by Palmer. Off balance throw, and that will take care of the Brewers. Well, the double play helped. Nice play by Dean Palmer. No runs, 2 hits, 1 left. After 1.5, no score. To the ballpark in Arlington, and the man who rocks the house prior to every Ranger game, Leroy Pardell, joins us. Leroy, glad to have you stop by and help us inaugurate the ballpark here.
It's a wonderful day. I'm honored to be here today.
Well, we're glad to have you, and you sure do a lot for our telecast. I know we've had a lot of comments from Ranger fans about how much they enjoy your different renditions for each ball club that the Rangers play prior to our telecast.
13 of them, I think we did.
13 of them? That sounds about right.
Where'd you do them at?
We do sets the Brewers now, yes.
Yeah.
Where did you do all the recordings at?
We did them in Nashville. We found an airplane hangar out there. By the way, I hear that... Oh, we're on the camera? I hear you do a good one, Jim. You do a good Leroy Parnell.
I do?
That's what I hear. Have I heard? Is that right?
Oh, with the guitar.
Oh, I see. It's just a visual thing.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Oh my goodness, am I got to keep the score here for you boys?
Yeah, we could use all the help we can get. Staying busy?
Yes, sir.
Well, I know you've had a pretty good run of things going on in both Nashville, and you've been touring around a little bit, haven't you?
We've been out. We've been out since the beginning of the year. This was our last single club date that we played in San Antonio on Saturday, and then we leave and go to Dayton, Ohio, and start the Travis Tritt Tour. We'll be out for 110 days.
Whoa.
Good steady work.
Glamour of that travel kind of wears off in a hurry, doesn't it?
That bus fumes will get to you after a while.
Will Clark starting things off in the Rangers' second. No score here in the ballpark in Arlington. Still a Ranger fan?
Absolutely.
From the area?
Absolutely. Stephenville, boy, I'd be shot if I wasn't.
Well, we've talked, Jim and I have talked a couple times about having a facility like this and how Ranger fans, especially in North Texas, getting a tradition that they're going to build and build and build upon.
Yeah, it was amazing. When
didn't quite get it to right field. Meeske there, and Clark is gone.
Doggone. Can I be you guys can't be biased, but I can I?
Sure, you can be. Yeah.
That's good.
Certainly.
Yeah, when I walked in, I couldn't believe my eyes. This place was just unbelievable. I've seen a bunch of ballparks. I've seen the inside of them, because when we travel around the country, we like to hit as many ball games as we can. Got a bunch of baseball fans in the band. And there's nothing like this one out there. It's absolutely the greatest.
And they've given it a pretty good flavor of Texas, too, with the stars and the bull's heads and the granite, Texas granite.
Well, it's, we got to do it right down here.
I would say that's been accomplished.
Yeah, Van Cliburn,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to get him to come to a gig anywhere.
0-2 pitch to D. Palmer. A ball and 2 strikes.
I saw him bring that piano out with the rain. I thought, this is interesting.
I thought Jerry Lee was coming out at first, and then they kind of got the same hairdo. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Hey.
Fine drive by Palmer, but right at the third baseman, Kevin Seitzer, 2 gone. Fuji Blimp again give us a good shot. Sellout crowd here at the ballpark in Arlington on day number 1.
Man, isn't this great? There's only one of these, boys.
Yep.
One opening day, and we're here. It's unbelievable.
What you need to do, I understand there are a couple of, well, maybe one vacancy left out there in the offices in center field. You need to open up office for you out there.
Hey, that'd be a good deal. At least I'd be able to come home once in a while.
There you go. Hey, come in town.
Oh.
Be out there next to
Hey, man, what's he doing in my box?
He's talking to Troy Aikman there.
Hey, there's Brother Troy.
Yep. Nolan's got an office out there. You sit
what a nice guy, man. I was sitting back there talking to him and his wife. And that was the second time he and I've been introduced. And he's just such a gentleman. Great guy. Oh.
Ducey. Balls went out of play on the third base side. I've said it before. I don't believe I've met a nicer person in or out of baseball than Nolan Ryan.
No, sir. He's a lesson in how to live, and that's for sure.
Yes, he is. It's nice to see him, too, stay with the Rangers, be affiliated with the organization. He's in the first year of a 10-year contract with them. It's nice to have a quality gentlemen like that around.
You bet you.
2 balls, 2 strikes to count to Rob Ducey. 2 out here in the second inning. We're visiting with Leroy Parnell of Rockin' the House fame. He starts off all of our telecasts here on the Ranger Network.
About a course or 2.
You bet you. Are you asking Jim, or
Yeah,
are you
I'm
going to do
asking.
it?
I'm asking. No,
Ooh, we're rocking the house. Yeah, we're rocking the house. Is that what you was
yeah, that's good.
Sonny, I couldn't quite hear you.
No, he's not doing anything. He said he was going to do me, but he's not. Because, you know, it's not every day you get up here with these guys that, you got 2 no-hitters, don't you?
I had. I don't think I've.
Yeah, they let you keep them, you know.
They did let me keep them, yeah.
Well, that's good, because as ornery as he is, they would probably try to take it away from him.
Well, somehow you'd figure a way to get that done, too, Sonny. I know you.
Oh, they're going to think we're having more fun than Dizzy Dean up here.
But one thing about it, we do have fun with the Ranger Ball Club like this. There's a lot of excitement, too, to go around. So we have a good time. Chopper to the right side, and Jody Reed will throw out Ducey. Rangers go quietly in the second. Leroy, thank you very much for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you again. Stop by whenever you get home.
You guys are wonderful, and I thank you for having me.
All right,
you
take care. After 2 from the Ballpark in Arlington, no score.
16 will be Decker Foods calendar night at the Ballpark in Arlington. All fans entering with a paid admission to the Orioles-Rangers game receive the 1994 Texas Rangers calendar featuring photos from various stages of the ballpark. We'll mark that down, April 15 and 16.
To the third we go, and the number 9 hitter, Alex Diaz, the center fielder, leads things off for the Milwaukee Brewers. No score here, and Kenny Rogers throws a strike. Diaz, who lives in Brooklyn, New York now, played in 32 ball games with the Brewers last year, hit .319. Look out. Kenny Rogers knocking the feet out from under the young man.
Well, he broke his ankle last year at Arlington Stadium when the Brewers were in town, and Kenny going for an ankle here.
Almost got him. Ooh,
wow.
Pretty good low bridge.
Pretty good dancing, rocking the house right there.
Yeah. High and tight. 2 balls and a strike. Diaz off to a slow start, hitting at 188. Has a couple of RBI. All right, excuse me, 267. Has 5 RBI. Get my statistics straight here, shortly. Off the end of the bat, 1 hopper right to Will Clark. And a room service play for Will, and there's 1 away. Back to the top of the order, Pat Listach. Will Clark still playing on that sore right ankle that he injured yesterday. Conditions in Baltimore really deteriorated in a hurry, and Will, on a play going to the bag, said he got to the bag and had his foot slip off, and he rolled over on his ankle. Actually fell to the ground before being able to get up to take a throw from Manuel Lee. Breaking ball to Listach. He's 0 for 1, and it's 0-1. Bat grounded out to second baseman Doug Strange to start things on an excellent defensive play. A ball and a strike. Rogers back to the plate. Looper toward left. That's going to fall for a base hit. Well, Listach aboard with the 3rd hit of the afternoon against Kenny Rogers, a 1-out single here in the 3rd inning. And you've got to keep a pretty close eye on Pat Listach over there.
A Rookie of the Year back in '92. He had 54 stolen bases, and then, of course, the injuries last year cut that way back, but he is their best base stealer on this club.
Cut it down to 18 last year, but looking to see that he only played a total of 98 ball games. Here is the speedy Darrell Hamilton, designated hitter for the Brewers. First pitch to him is a strike. Nolan's elbow problem began in spring training. Even though he was the Brewers opening day center fielder, he has not been able to get back to that level of throwing yet. And it's kind of a day-to-day thing. It has given Alex Diaz, though, some more playing time. And Brewers are fortunate in that respect that they have someone capable of playing a good center field. Listach away from first. The pitch is low, and the count moves to 2-1.
Hamilton established himself really the last 3 years as a major league hitter, 300 league hitter. He's averaged that over that period of time. 2 of the years hitting over 300, the other just under. But really developed into a good ball player with some speed, and of course left-handers give him a little bit of trouble.
Rogers a snap throw, and Listach almost caught leaning the wrong way. Matter of fact, he was leaning the wrong way, but I don't think his intent was to get a big jump, so he was able to reverse his momentum. 2-1 the count. And Rogers again first base way. This time Listach reading it a little better. Kenny with a dozen pickoffs last year. Also made him very difficult to steal against when he teamed up with Ivan Rodriguez, and he's keeping a close eye on Pat Listach.
The most popular count, probably 2-1 to have runners take off. Of course, Listach on the first throw, you saw him make that move towards second base. That usually alerts everybody that possibly he's thinking about stealing. Of course, the quick guys can make that first step towards second and get back in time.
Another alarm signal is when you go over and talk to the first base coach, trying to figure out what the sign was. Listach's on the way. Now he's getting back. The throw by Lee. They get him. Well, the Brewers have the hit and run on Listach, not trying to get a stealing jump. And he stopped about halfway down as Hamilton swung through the pitch. Good exchange from Rodriguez to Lee to Will Clark for the out.
And because of Rogers holding Listach on the hit and run, you see Listach looking toward home plate. Didn't really have an opportunity to get a big jump. They put the hit and run on, and the Rangers with a pretty good relay. Take another look from this angle. Rodriguez with a good pitch to handle up. He got it down to Manny Lee very quickly. Lee back to Clark. And I'd say it's safe.
Ooh.
Phil Gardner had a good argument.
Fisted is Hamilton. Rounds one down to Will Clark, to Kenny Rogers, and that will do it. So for the Brewers, no runs, a hit, and nobody left. After 2.5 from Arlington, no score.
All is brought to you in part by Mercado Juarez Cafe, world-class Mexican food, and by Dodge. See your nearest Dodge dealer today.
Scoreless ball game at the beautiful Ballpark in Arlington. Brewers have out hit the Rangers 3-1, but neither club has been able to push across a point yet. And again, the overhead shot. Parking lots are full, and when you get into about June, there's going to be an awful lot of green where you see the brown dirt right now. They've got landscaping projects going on, and lakes will be filling up. Some of you probably going out there trying to catch a bass for lunch, won't you?
I already have. Pretty good pun right back here. I'm not going to tell you what corner, though, it is.
Oh, okay. Here's Ivan Rodriguez starting things off in the Ranger third. And Navarro's first pitch outside. Budge hitting at 222, a couple of home runs, 4 driven in. Just outside the bag at first. And we'll catch you up on some scores from around Major League Baseball, brought to you by Budweiser. A final from Detroit as Baltimore defeats the Tigers 7-4. Toronto fly ball right center field. And gone is Manuel Lee, or Yvonne Rodriguez. Manuel Lee coming up. Continuing with the scores, Cleveland leading California 4-0 in the 5th. And games tonight, Boston at Kansas City, Minnesota at Seattle. And we'll continue with the rest of them in just a moment. First ball swinging. Lee chops one to short. And Pat Listach, a good job of taking care of that. Over the National League, Chicago, a 9-5 final over the Mets. Colorado out slugging Philadelphia 8-7. John Kruk, by the way, back in a Phillies uniform. Cincinnati at Montreal this evening. And Los Angeles at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, postponed by rain. 2 gone in the Ranger 3rd inning. Back to the top of the order, David Holtz takes a pitch high. David Holtz had the only Ranger hit of the afternoon as he led the ball game off with a bad hop single over the head of Jody Reed at second. Takes a strike at the knees, and it's 1-1. Well, David Holtz now back up to the 333 mark after that first inning single, and he fouls off the next pitch, 1-2.
That on-base percentage up probably over 38%, and a number that a magic number that I hope David Holtz will be able to do all year long. Last year, 33% of the time, and most leadoff hitters you need about 38% and above. Your better ones up over 40%.
Here's a swing and a miss for the 3rd strike, and the Rangers again gone in order. So 7 straight now sent down by Jamie Navarro. We finished 3 from the ballpark in Arlington. No score between the Brewers and the Rangers. Fourth inning, and the Brewers come to bat in a scoreless ball game. They will have Turner Ward, Kevin Seitzer, and John Jaha to face Kenny Rogers. A sunbathed crowd now here at the ballpark in Arlington. Shadows beginning to sneak across the first base line as Turner Ward fouls one out of play over the Ranger dugout. One of the things that you might say makes this a hitter's ballpark also, besides some of the short dimensions, the lack of foul territory. Goes down the stands jutting toward the foul line, cutting down foul territory just 100 feet past both the first and third base bags. And in right field, you only have about 8 feet or so between the foul line and the stands. And you get down toward the dugouts. From each bag, it's only about 46 or 7 feet to the stands. Turner Ward grounds out to Dean Palmer, and there's one away in the Brewer 4th. Now time for your baseball notes, brought to you by Toyota. Seattle off to the only winless start in the major leagues. They are 0-5. Randy Johnson yesterday, 11 runs in 2 1/3 innings of work against the Blue Jays. His ERA is almost 11. Now it's 10.8, I believe.
From almost a no-hitter to a ballooned ERA.
That's what you call from the penthouse to the basement in a hurry on the express elevator.
Well, you talk about the importance of spring training over the start of the season. The Mariners with the best record in the major leagues, 21-9 in spring training, and they're off to an 0-5 start.
Here's Kevin Seitzer, who grounded into a fielder's choice his first time up. The strike makes it 1-1.
Started the season last year with Oakland and finished with Milwaukee. Hit .290 with Milwaukee and was back with the ball club this year. But we mentioned the first time, not a cleanup hitter, but more of a number 2 type hitter, a guy that moves the ball around the field, a good contact type hitter, predominantly an opposite field hitter, but he's hit for a little bit of power. A couple home runs already.
1-2 pitch, breaking ball, chopped to third behind the bag. Dean Palmer Long throw, and they get him. Well, if you have heard about Dean Palmer's arm strength and you haven't seen it, you have now.
But this one a little more impressive, the fact the ball is kind of hit toward the line and his momentum is kind of going back, and he didn't really have a lot of time to set up. And he just fired it across. But you take that left side of the infield, whether you're a shortstop having to go into the hole or a third baseman toward the line like Palmer did, you need that strong arm.
It's about a 135-foot throw, flat-footed. So 2 gone on ground balls to Palmer. And here is John Jaha, who singled to left field as he led things off in the second. Jaha now has raised his batting mark to .353 in the early going. Had a 4-game hitting streak snapped yesterday as he took it 0 for 3. That against California. 2 balls, no strikes to count.
We've had a great shot from behind. Look at that. Good view of what center field, what the hitter picks up from Kenny Rogers.
Yep. Ground ball up the middle behind the bag. Manuel Lee off balance throw, and he's got him. 2 days in a row we've seen Manuel Lee do what he does best. And the Rangers defense sparkles in a perfect 1-2-3-4. After 3.5, no score. And now this message from Southwest Airlines.
Texas, always a hit, always Coca-Cola. And by your metro area Oldsmobile dealers.
Welcome back to the ballpark in Arlington. We move to the bottom of the 4th inning, a scoreless ball game. 3 hits for Milwaukee, just 1 for the Rangers. It'll be the numbers 2, 3, and 4 hitters in the Texas lineup to face Jamie Navarro. Doug Strange leads off and grounds the first pitch foul for strike 1. Doug Strange, a strikeout victim. Navarro has struck out a couple this afternoon. Navarro okays the sign from Dave Nilsson and nails down the outside corner. Navarro, you could consider a streaky pitcher. We hear about streaky hitters a lot, but this may be one of the days that Navarro is in one of his good streaks because he has pitched exceptionally well. His control has been very good. Listach behind the bag, and he throws to get Strange. That's out number 1.
In the past, Navarro really a fine competitor and one of the better pitchers in the American League. 17 wins back in '92. He was 15-12 in '91, but he mentioned had problems last year. But he's the kind of guy that would not be surprised to sometimes see him win 20 ball games. He is a big guy, good endurance, gives you innings. He's had 3 years in a row now where he's gone over 200 innings.
Here's Jose Canseco, who grounded into a fielder's choice his first time up. And Jose trying to duplicate his 420-plus foot home run of yesterday.
We've had a first hit already by David Halls. We're looking for the first extra base hit, and Canseco trying to do that
with authority. 1 ball, 1 strike to count.
I don't think he owns a hat. I think he just has a helmet.
Chopper towards short. Big hop comes up for Pat Listach, who throws out Canseco. 2 gone.
And the only time I see him with anything on his head is when he's hitting, and it's a helmet.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lid on very often. That's how you normally see it.
Right there.
Yeah. Navarro now has retired 9 consecutive Rangers, and Juan Gonzalez will step to the plate, make that 10 consecutive. Juan out on a fielder's choice in the first, and a swinging strike 0-1. Juan took an 0 for yesterday at the first game in which he had not hit safely this year. Popped him up, Shallow center field going out. Jody Reed, an over-the-shoulder catch, as Alex Diaz had misread the ball. But Reed out there to help him out. So the side retired again in order for the Rangers. We've finished 4 from the ballpark in Arlington. Still no score. And the shadows, which will be an integral part of the new ballpark in Arlington, beginning to show themselves along the first base line down the right field side, and especially affecting the area between the mound and home plate.
Buzz, this may be the one game that'll be affected the most. I don't think in a normal situation when you got a 2 o'clock start, this being 5 o'clock, normally a 3-hour ball game, you'd be right at the end of the game on a normal situation. But from about 5 to 6:30 is when you're going to have the worst shadows.
First pitch of the 5th inning to Dave Nilsson. There's a ball outside.
And when you think about that, the worst shadows at the old ballpark really were for night games. The shadows hitting out in the center field area.
There's a drive deep right field. That goes Ducey at the wall. Goodbye. Dave Nilsson has nailed the first home run of the ballpark in Arlington into the home run porch in right field. And the Brewers have taken a 1-0 lead.
This is the ballpark where left-handed hitters are going to like to hit in. Also, right-handed hitters with good opposite field power. Anthony Rogers laying a ball right on the inside part of the plate. Nilsson off the plate and extends on it. This ball gets out in a hurry. Out there about 10 rows.
Nilsson with his 2nd home run of the year. And Milwaukee has jumped out in front here in the 5th, 1-0. As Jody Reed takes a strike. Reed 1 for 1 with a single to center field in the 2nd inning. Pulls that breaking ball from Kenny Rogers foul. It's 0-2.
But the pitch, I thought, Buzz, that really the shadows not going to get bad here for another inning or so. And with the shadows being bad from about 5:15 to 6:30, normally that's not going to affect normal scheduling for the Rangers.
Right.
The worst time is being at night at the old park.
Chopper to the third base side, cut off by Dean Palmer. And Reed shot down. That's out number 1.
You know, the first 3 innings at the old ballpark were really difficult because of the sun hitting on that center field drop area. But this will be with the high upper deck area. This will not be the same way.
And the one thing that they did correct, they found out during the exhibition games from the hitter's backdrop out in center field, they have changed just a little bit by draping that black tarp across the white supports of the 2nd level. Instead of having all white supports out there, now it's draped in black. So that was the only complaint the hitters and catchers and umpires had as far as the hitter's background was concerned.
Yeah, interesting, it was the breaking ball that the hitters were having trouble with that up there, with the way the arc as the ball comes out of the hand was catching those top railings. Otherwise, it was just a catcher that and the umpire having a little bit of problem.
Here's Matt Mieske in a swinging strike. 1-2. Mieske grounded to third. Steve Palmer's been a busy man here this afternoon. He's already handled 5 chances.
Well, that is good backdrop.
Mieske backing out. Now getting back in. Rogers ready for the 1-2 pitch. Low and inside right here. Let's take 5 seconds for station identification. This is the Texas Rangers Baseball Network.
You're watching Texas Rangers Baseball on KTVT Channel 11, Fort Worth, Dallas.
First regular season game at the ballpark in Arlington. Rangers trailing 1-0 here in the top of the 5th inning. That on the strength of Dave Nilsson's 382-foot home run to right field and the lower bleachers out there. 3 balls, 2 strikes to count to Matt Mieske. Rogers with a payoff pitch. Fouled away. Mieske, the number 8 hitter, to be followed by the center fielder, Alex Diaz. Kenny Rogers has allowed that 1 run on 4 base hits. Rangers pitching staff still having trouble keeping the ball in the yard. They now in the first 5.5 ball games have allowed a dozen home runs. Dean Palmer again with a chance to his left. Throws out Mieske. There are 2 gone.
I'd like to pass on some greetings. We've got, looks like last night at 10:28 at the Arlington Memorial Hospital, the youngest Ranger fan was born, Jonathan Randy Hall. And looks like Dad would like to say hi to Mother Debbie and Brother David, all watching.
Well, we'll say hello to Jonathan, too, because I know he's watching. He's got to have his eyes open by now.
He might be eating. I would think he'd be getting some nourishment.
Alex Diaz grounded out to Will Clark down at first base. He's 0 for 1 on the afternoon and hitting in an even .250. Breaking ball pulled foul. Count moves to 0-2. That looks like that salmon you caught up in Seattle last year.
The guy or the...
No, not the guy.
Now, that's the kind of stuff Dave Burchett catches out in Puget Sound. Anything but what a salmon.
That is a rockfish.
I've seen a few boots and dogfish, they call them, little shark-looking things. He's happy, though.
Diaz, the switch hitter, still looking for his first hit of the year from the right side of the plate. He's now 0 for 5. Kenny Rogers back to him and gets Diaz on the foul tip into the glove of Ivan Rodriguez. Side retired, but Dave Nilsson's leadoff home run puts the Brewers on top. Halfway through the ball game, 1-0 Milwaukee.
Since 1962, National League Baseball returned to the Big Apple, and Casey Stengel also returned to lead the hapless Mets to an 11-4.
What happens here is that all these boxes, every single one of them, filled with syrup. For the soft drinks here, it gets mixed up with that carbonated junk and sent to all the concession stands over the stadium. Every single one of them fed out of rooms like this. 30 miles of tubing spread between here and the concession stands. You know what that means, Buzz and Sonny? That means that if you guys wanted to move to, say, Rockwall, you can still order a drink and get it delivered from Arlington Stadium.
30 miles of tubing, huh? Will Clark fouling one back and out of play. Clark leading off the bottom of the 5th inning for the Rangers. They trail 1-0 to the Milwaukee Brewers. Rangers just 1 base hit down to the first batter of the game, David Holtz, and that was a bad hop single. Since then, Navarro has retired 12 straight. Foul tip, and it's 1-2. Will Clark currently hitting at .267. Navarro just barely in the sunshine as he throws. Call strike 3. Will Clark caught looking. Navarro now has 3 strikeouts. And Dean Palmer coming up.
A special event coming up on April 22nd and 23rd is Budweiser Ball Poster. Schedule night. All fans 21 and older with a paid admission to either the Rangers-Indians games will receive a full-size poster featuring the Ballpark in Arlington and the Rangers' 94 season schedule.
With 1 out, Dean Palmer down in the count. No balls and a strike. Dean line to his counterpart, third baseman Kevin Seitzer. Back in the 2nd inning. Hughes this one out towards second, past the mound. Charging Reed, off balance throw, and they get him. We have seen some outstanding defense here this afternoon on both sides.
Now, Jody Reed last inning to end the 4th went clear out in the outfield to make a nice play. And this one he charges. Well, it's nice one-handed play. Boy, he picked it up. The only play he had was to barehand it and flip it. And Dean Palmer thought he had it beat.
Well, 2 up and 2 down. Rob Ducey, who grounded out to Reed, goes after the first pitch and sends one deep to right center field. On back, Miski and Diaz. And Diaz, right in front of the 407 marker, puts it away. Rob Ducey, challenging the deepest part of the park, comes up just a couple of feet short, and the Rangers out in order in the 5th. After 5 complete, the Brewers lead 1-0.
Hall of Famer.
On to the 6th inning we go. It will be the top of the order for the Milwaukee Brewers. Matt Listach to start things off. Listach, 1 out of 2 against Kenny Rogers. That first ball swinging. It's fouled down for 1. Pudge Rodriguez taking the brunt of that foul tip. Listach out on a very good defensive play to start the ball game by Doug Strange, the Rangers' second baseman. Then he singled to left field. 0-1 pitch. Straightens him up off the inside corner. Rogers winds and deals. And again inside off the plate. 2-1. Listach now 4 out of 7 as a right-handed hitter this year. Loops one into shallow right center field. That's going to fall for a base hit. Rob Ducey will get it back in, and Listach has his second base hit. From the cockpit of the Fuji Blip. Don't turn around and look. I don't want you to run into a helicopter or anything up there, guys. Some great overhead shots here today of the first regular season game in the ballpark in Arlington. Listach aboard with a leadoff single. That is the 5th hit of the afternoon against Kenny Rogers. Here's Darrell Hamilton, who is 0 for 2. He has flied to left and grounded to first. But Rogers working on Listach. Mentioned Hamilton last year, an outstanding season. I think 310 for Milwaukee in 135 ball games. Ooh, look out. Kenny Rogers coming off the plate, and Hamilton didn't react all that quickly.
See the ball going in and out of the shadows. Kenny Rogers really in the shadow of the light standard back up behind first base. A little bit of sun and then the shadow again. Probably not the easiest time to see a ball.
Another quick throw to first. This time Listach diving back.
One of the helpful things, though, the fact that the Rangers have turned the lights on, so that'll kind of cut down on a little bit of the difficulty. Light standards.
Little soft toss to first, and Listach not going anywhere. These lights will be tested for the first time in a ball game here on Wednesday night when this series resumes. We'll have Thursday night's game for you. There has not been a night game, either exhibition or otherwise, played here.
Well, we might have them before we get out of here.
We could. 1-0 pitch is outside. 2 balls, no strikes.
We could actually have the first day and night game here on KTVT.
Kenny Rogers with 1 walk, 1 strikeout this afternoon. Facing Darrell Hamilton. 2-0 pitch. Took something off that and got the outside part of the plate. Left-hander set. Listach expanding his lead and drawing a throw from Rogers. Two balls and 2 strikes. Darrell Hamilton with a ligament problem in that right elbow. It makes it pretty difficult for him to extend when he is batting. Very well extend those arms. Pulls this one down to Clark, could be 2 to Lee, and then no return throw. Hamilton's speed and the tough positioning of Pat Listach on that slide made it almost impossible.
Moments ago we showed you this Southwest Airlines trivia quiz. Who played the most career games among players who spent their entire career with just one major league team? And Sir Yaz. They had over 3,300 ball games with the Red Sox. Amazing. George Brett is probably close to that. Robin Yount.
Close. Darrell Hamilton and Pat Listach exchange places at first base. 1 gone now, and Turner Ward at the plate as Kenny Rogers goes to work on the speedy Darrell Hamilton in first. Turner Ward has grounded to third and walked here this afternoon. Hitting at .333 as he faces Rogers here in the 6th. Pretty good tailing fastball by Kenny Rogers. It's 0-1.
Quite a different chemistry we mentioned earlier in this Brewer lineup. Take the other 2 ball clubs in that 3rd spot. You'd see Paul Merrill right now, or with the Yankees, Don Mattingly. Bill Garner with a club that he hopes will score more runs than they did last year. That a talented pitching staff will rebound and put in some innings and stay healthy.
Yeah, they're going to have to get some folks healthy if they're going to score many runs. Of course, when you have a guy like Navarro out there facing Rogers and throwing a shutout, you don't have to score many runs to win ball games. Just off the inside corner. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kenny Rogers thought he might have had that. A little cut fastball in there. Just missed. Couldn't get the call from Greg Kosk. Rogers okays the sign from Rodriguez. High chopper down the 3rd baseline will be foul. We'll come back and try it again.
The last couple of pitches, I don't think Turner Ward really saw the ball that well. In fact, on the close pitch, he turned around and kind of shaking his head as if maybe, had trouble seeing it. And then Rodriguez and Greg Kosk exchanging words.
Now the darkest shadow now, which is that of the roof over the upper deck, a little past midway to the mound, and that's got to be the toughest time, where the ball comes out of the sunlight for about 15 feet and goes into a shadow. Now Greg Kosk asking Kenny Rogers to do a little groundskeeping himself. There was something out there behind the mound. 1-2, 1 out, 1 on. Milwaukee leading the Rangers 1-0. Check swing. Did he go around? Yes, he did. Turner Ward out on strikes. Staying at first, Darrell Hamilton. And Kenny Rogers now with a pair of punch-outs.
Rodriguez really bouncing around the plate. Started in yesterday afternoon's game. You see him getting down well on this one. Kept it close to him. And kept Pat Listash or Darrell Hamilton at first base.
Now the cleanup man in the Milwaukee order, Kevin Seitzer, 0 for 2. He has grounded out twice, both times grounding to Dean Palmer at third base. 1 ball, no strikes. Seitzer currently hitting at .227. Kenny Rogers set and goes first base way with Hamilton getting back.
You could take that chemistry another step farther. In the number 4 spot in New York, you had Tartable. In Baltimore, you had Baines. Now you have the Kevin Seitzer.
Ball 2 is outside. Seitzer came up with Kansas City and was noted very well as being a good line drive hitter, and had a couple of very good seasons in Kansas City. Went downhill as soon as people found his weakness was lack of power.
He had 2 seasons where he hit over 300, but a guy again that very thrifty with the bat, handles it extremely well, and can do wand. Boy, he could place the ball.
And once people found out that anything from the middle of the plate away, Seitzer would do a lot with. They started pounding him pretty good, then throwing in some breaking balls, and it became a little more difficult. 2-1 pitch. 3 balls and a strike. Seitzer trying to prolong this 6th inning. He's the number 4 hitter, to be followed by the first baseman, John Jaha. Hamilton at first with 2 outs. See if he's moving on the 3-1. He's staying put. And a line drive down the right side. Fair ball. And into the corner. It gets by Ducey and rolls into that corner we talked about. Scoring all the way from first is Hamilton. And in standing at third is Kevin Seitzer. And the Brewers have taken a 2-0 lead. Now the personality, the idiosyncrasies of this ballpark coming into play here, and they have not favored the Rangers as of yet.
It's going to take a while for the Rangers to really figure out the ballpark, and then probably should play to their advantage, but this ball hit very weakly down the right field line. Pitch that was off that into the bat. It looked as if, and Rob Ducey not able to get there before it hit the wall. We talked about the importance of either waiting for it to come off the wall or get to it before it hits it, but it got by him, and see, he got a triple and drove in a run.
So a two-run lead for the Brewers as Jaha takes a strike on the outside corner. Kevin Seitzer with his 5th RBI of the year. Jaha fouling it off, and it's 0-2. Kevin Seitzer,
that outside part of the plate you were talking about, even something away from it, he handles it pretty well.
Yep. 1-2.
He really had made that many mistakes. He got a ball inside to Dave Nielsen that he hit out for a home run, then a ball away from Kevin Seitzer. And a type of game when you got a guy like Jamie Navarro going on the hill and pitching well for the Brewers, Rogers finds himself behind.
The 1-2 pitch. Jaha down on strikes. The tag made by Rodriguez. Fired. retired, but the Brewers come up with another run on a pair of hits. They strand one, and we played 5 1/2. It's now Milwaukee 2 and Texas nothing.
Hey, there's a recliner.
Brought to you by